I went in the room and the last thing I said to Stephen was, if you're going to take me as like a serious candidate for this role, you have to acknowledge that she would be Afro-Latino. It doesn't work any other way. If you're not going to do that, then just don't hire me.
Going into it, of course, you put all that pressure on yourself, and you know, there's always the initial excitement when you get a job, and then the absolute terror sort of sets in. But you know, it became very apparent. I think the first sort of conversations I had with Ken, he was just more interested in sort of asking me about my family or about my experiences with growing up sort of on the border, and he wanted us to sort of bring our own lives to these roles, and he really wasn't looking for an impersonation of his parents, which was, you know, the greatest thing that you could have been told. The research was just watching so many interviews with these women and what they went through and how powerless they felt, because this just arrived on their doorstep and they never asked for it. And it was just such a beautiful gift, really, to be able to get to, you know, give voice to them and to sort of show what it is that they went through. I think we've seen so many stories from the north of Ireland that have always looked at it from a very political lens and very paramilitary lens. And, you know, these are important films, but they're also sometimes the only viewpoint you get of that. And so this was just such a beautiful role to actually show the women of Northern Ireland, you know, all of those memories about crossing border checkpoints, you know, British Army with machine guns, bomb scares in our town, bombs happening in towns that were only like 15, 30 minutes away. You know, when I was Jude's age, there were huge bombs in Enniskillen and Omagh. And, you know, these are things that you don't, at the time, it's just such a fabric of your life, and it's in the backdrop always, constantly. I mean, you never really know how you absorb that as a child.
I was very hesitant. I mean, my initial reaction was, that's going to be cool and that's going to be a great movie because he makes beautiful films. And then I was like, I'm definitely not getting that job. So good luck to whoever does. I mean, Anita's on screen. I mean, Rita doesn't look like me, the great Rita Moreno. And that felt very limiting. How we portray Latinas in the industry, to me, has felt very limiting for a very long time. So I didn't really see space in the world for me. In fact, I've spoken on this recently. It's like when I first moved to New York, I moved when I was 19, and I was told by several different casting directors that I was ethnically ambiguous.
Oh, God.
But I could not audition for Hispanic roles because I was too Black for that. I was like, oh, yikes. Well, that's fun. Thanks, guys. So only now am I really getting to explore this, not only this part of myself, but like, what does this look like on screen, and how do we represent like Afro-Latinas as part of Latinidad on screen? So that's what was really exciting. And it's a great role that is, you know, dynamic. It's not one note. You know, Anita runs the gamut. She runs the gamut of emotion. And those are the types of roles that I think all women want to play. Dynamic women, women who, you know, it's not just about being a strong woman. Like, there are, you know, nuances to strength.
You know, there are going to be so many more stories told about Venus and Serena, because there are these kind of Greek characters, you know, right? Chekhovian, Shakespearean, August Wilson, like they're the reservoir that great writers will always go to tell a great story. These two sisters who were excellent at what they did, competing against each other. I mean, you know, it's easy. It's wonderful. Every writer will want to go to that. But how many times are you going to have a story where the story concentrates on their mother? And so when I found out the truth of Miss Racine, which is that she was their coach, their mother, but she was their coach, for me, it was so important that I be her voice, because I wanted the world, not just Richard Williams in that scene, but I wanted the world to know who she was. And I wanted her to have her say while she was alive. I did not get to meet Miss Orsine. And I talked to her briefly. We were trying to arrange her possibly coming to set, but she wasn't able to. But what I did have were these recordings that my gem of a director, Ronaldo Marcus Green, and Will Smith, and Zach Balin, our writer, they sat down with Miss Orsine and just talked to her. And really, they just let the recorder play, and she just got to talk about her life, which is a very rare thing. And essentially, I just listened to those recordings over and over and over again. They were my music in the morning and my lullaby at night. And yeah, that was a clay that I used to build a character of Miss Orsine. I met her when we were doing the press last fall, a couple months ago. And she's a lovely, lovely, lovely woman. And she just said, good job.
Oh,
She's a woman of few words. And my heart just went, I was grateful. I was happy.
wow. I was not considering the significance of the film. I don't dare go there. It's too big a thought. I just read it and I knew that I would do it. And I also prayed that I could find the way to that level of grief and remain in a way that would respect that character and the human beings who suffer, not just the loss of a child, but grief and rage and guilt and sadness, and don't know a way forward to some level of healing. We did a lot of laughing too.
Okay, good.
All of us
Good.
might understand that in between takes and between setups. I mean, these are very funny actors. There were times we would laugh till we were weeping. And then we knew when it was time to just drop back in, as Martha would put it, dear Martha, nobody had to be called by their character name. Let's just get on with it and do the job. And they are family to me.
I went in the room and the last thing I said to Stephen was, if you're going to take me as like a serious candidate for this role, you have to acknowledge that she would be Afro-Latino. It doesn't work any other way. If you're not going to do that, then just don't hire me.
Wow. That is brave.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. I ate my Wheaties, or like just my ball pops that morning.
Wow.
That's how I saw this woman. She was unapologetically Black, Afro-Latina, and it's a lived experience that quite frankly lives in the gray, and it didn't have a voice, and I saw a way through. And honestly, if you're going to make West Side Story, the point is to infuse new energy into it and offer a new perspective. And that's the way that I saw her for me. So yeah, that's what I did.
So if men are the ones who are writing the stories, making the stories, giving green light to the stories, then that's why we're not seeing beautiful, fully formed, wide spectrum of what it is to be a woman.
There are a lot of great roles in television, but I think film leaves a lot to be desired. I think I'm really understating that. I think it's actually shameful how film fails women in their portrayals. We have so many movies that are about heroic male figures, even now, 2022. And women are relegated to being plot devices in those heroic male figure movies. And that unfortunately still remains the same. And I don't see the needle moving very much in that direction.
Sometimes we're so limited by who we are and what we get to play. And I don't think any of us, stepped into this business to just be able to tell one story. And I'm just so interested in telling stories from, all over the place and that represent so many people. And so I just feel that, I love acting. It's my passion, but I also feel sometimes limited by it. And I just, I think hopefully the next step is behind the camera too.
What we need are courageous producers, and not just men, courageous women producers, because sometimes it's women producers who are telling women no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough that we have the position. We have to change it. We have to change it. We can't replace, I said, we can't replace domination with more domination. We have to make room for each other.
Yeah.
So I just want to present that I want to challenge women producers to when we write these things, to have the courage to produce them and put them out in the world.
No woman on this earth, for not to even mention women of color, because I don't even know. Can't speak to that. But second-class citizen is what we know from the day one. And it's like, really, okay, that's your point of view? Feck off. Forgive me. Is that an acceptable way to say it in Britain? Just feck off. And I remember being told, because I didn't have looks, wasn't pretty, this and that when you're in your 30s, I remember thinking, wow, go away from me. Go now. Because everybody here, I don't care what our actor, journalists, whatever we are, we know in our core who we are. And if people think there isn't room for us, feck off. Sorry, but that. And aging is underrated because perspective. To Aunjanue's point, she said it articulately and brilliantly. We're going to keep fighting. Performances like Ariana, Aunjanue, Caitríona, you kidding? That can't be ignored. No chance of it. More writers, that the fact that women are writing. Women are the strongest creatures on earth. I'm sorry to be losing my mind here, but come on now. Nobody's going to stop women. Forget it. And so the writers, creative minds, collective energy together saying, excuse me, you don't want to pay attention? You want to be about male heroes? Fine, you do your boring thing. Forgive me. Respect to men. Good for you. Hey, knock yourselves out. Enjoy your life. But we have things to do too that are equally important. And the chatter from everybody else, go away. Go talk to somebody who doesn't have any purpose in their lives. God bless them. But
How long have I been acting? A long time. I've been acting a long time. It's always an issue,
Oh God.
It's always an issue. But I'm very firm. I'm very firm. I say, if you want my hair done, this is who I need to do it. And I will do my own hair. And I have done my own hair. Because I have experienced walking into a hair and makeup trailer and, just been invisible. And I just refuse. I'm too old. I refuse to go through that another day of my life.